Food is more than just what's on our plate. It's the places where it's grown, it's the people who grow it, and so much more. Join me, Janice Person, your host, on Grounded by the Farm every other week as we talk about the foods we love. Hey everybody, this is Janice, and I am so excited. This is an episode I've been looking forward to. I love pork, and we did an episode about Virginia salt-cured ham, but we really haven't talked to a pig farmer. And when I thought of pig farmers, my mind went way across the Atlantic to my dear friend Marcus. Marcus is a pork farmer who I met first when we were in Kansas City years ago for an event of farmers who are all actively trying to reach out and talk to consumers. And Marcus and a small group came from Germany. We have now visited farms in the U.S. together, and we've toured around Germany and visited farms there together. And so he truly is a dear friend. Marcus, would you mind introducing yourself and helping me with your last name?
Hi, my name is Marcus Holtkötter. That's my last name. That's a typical German name, I think. I'm a farmer from Germany. My farm is close to the border of the Netherlands in the western part of Germany. For our area, we are a typical farm with around about 400 acres, so that we produce winter wheat, winter barley, corn, and canola. And so at the second step, we have a pig farm, fattening stables, we call it. That's your barn. In Germany, it's a little bit different how the works with the pigs. So that's our typical farm for our area.
Okay, so it's kind of a number of different commodities all pulled in together, grains and oil seeds and livestock all together. I think there are some other differences with Germany, and let's talk about the food side of things first, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So when I was in Germany, I ate a lot of pork. And so I looked it up, and it looks like Germans, on average, eat twice as much pork a year as Americans. And I'm going to assume that's not all bacon.
No, not all bacon. Yeah, it's very typical schnitzel in Germany. So that's for German food. That's at the morning starts with Wurst for sausage for our bread. So that's the whole day, every time when you eat normal, eat a little bit pork about it. So that's in Germany we eat more pork than beef. So that's think why it's a typical thing. It's pork in Germany.
Yeah, and depending on the U.S., you may eat more chicken, you may eat more vegetables, less beef. You may eat more beef, right? Like Americans' diets, because it's such a big country, some places are heavy on seafood or whatever. But I think in general, pork, we like pork, but you guys have found different ways of doing it. So now one of the cuts that I think in and of itself doubles pork consumption is it pig knuckle or pork knuckle? What do you call the big piece that's bone, and it's almost like an ossobuco? It was, in the U.S., we call it a ham hock, but I had it in downtown Dusseldorf, this huge piece of pork.
You've seen it's Haxe. Yeah.
Okay. And it's like a really slow cooked, it's so tender.
Yeah.
And you already mentioned Wurst, which is different kinds of sausages. And you mentioned schnitzel, which in the U.S. is a cutlet.
Yeah.
It's a patty, kind of flattened.
Yeah.
And fried. If a schnitzel is fried, is it?
Yeah. Normal we make it. It's not only in oil directly. The normal schnitzel you make it in a pan on
like a skillet on top of the stove.
Yeah.
So, what's your family's favorite way to eat pork? Schnitzel.
Yes, it's schnitzel, or in the summer with barbecue.
Okay.
So that's a way for us. We love to eat pork. My youngest son loves schnitzel. Last time he gets 3 or 4 schnitzels, and I eat 2. It's amazing. He loves it.
How old is he?
11 at the moment.
Okay, well, growing boys is what we always say, right?
He will become a farmer. See, okay, it must be strong.
Yes, exactly. I mentioned I was in Dusseldorf, and you said you were on the far western side of Germany, not far from Dusseldorf,
Yeah,
right?
that's from Düsseldorf around about 1.5 hours.
Help me understand what the landscape. I haven't been to your farm yet, so is it kind of rolling hills or?
No, that's a little bit. It's not so flat as in the northern part of Germany. So in the northern part, we say, okay, you can see it's the morning if you get a visit at the evening. So that's not so flat in our area. We have a lot of trees,
Okay.
so that's around about every field normally trees.
Yeah.
A little bit hills, but not so extremely.
Yeah.
For farming, it's great. It's nice to live here. It's nice to see because all the trees and small towns and so on. So that's great and great to farm here.
Yeah, I think one of the differences in Germany and many parts of Europe is even though you're out in a rural area, townships are really quite close to you and to your cities, right?
Yeah.
So here we have a lot of farmers who feel like they live a long way from any major cities. But in Germany, you have smaller towns and cities all fairly close by, right?
Yes. So when it's next city was around about 10 or 11,000 people, that's 15 minutes from our farm. So that's 5 6 kilometers. That's very close. So it's not a big problem to go to a bigger city like Münster, Düsseldorf. Münster, that's around about a half hour,
Yeah.
and Düsseldorf. So that's in Germany we call it the Ruhrgebiet. There's Düsseldorf. Ruhrgebiet, it's 5 6 cities, big cities. That's an area where very a lot of industrial work and so on, and that's a, in Europe, that's the location which most people. So for us, it's great because all of the consumers very near to us. So that's in our area. We have the biggest slaughterhouses in Europe, like Tönnies. That's the biggest one in Europe. So that's very close to our farms. So that's the reason why in our area we have more than 30% of the pigs in Germany
Okay.
in our area.
Oh, so it's kind of like Iowa has a lot of pig farms in Iowa and they have a lot of the infrastructure like you're talking about,
Yeah,
slaughter
it's
facilities and things like that
yeah,
to get it
that's
cut up and packaged.
Iowa. It's like it's from the soil. It's the same, and from the pig farms.
It's similar.
That's similar to Germany,
Okay.
to our area.
So if somebody's never been to a pig farm and yours was the first one they came to, what would they notice when they drive up? When they drive up on your farm, you said you have both crops and livestock. So do you have barns or stables?
Yes, we built a new stable 2019 for the pigs. So it's a new building, but it's the most stables at our farm in all buildings where we built them to pig stables. So in Germany, it's typical in-house. It's closed, so you can eat them, and it's typical for our area that it looks like built with stones.
The building is created out of stone.
Yeah, it's
Instead of in the US, it may be wood or metal, or
yeah,
I guess there are some stone ones that are older. But you said you built this
yeah,
new building in 2019, was it?
yeah.
Nice. You're going to have to send pictures of that so I can put it in the show notes because I think that would be a beautiful area. Do you actually pull stone in your area or do you have to have it come all in from somewhere else?
No, that's not with sandstone. It's very old now. That's call it clinker. Clinker. I think I will send you a few pictures of that. So we built it very roughly. That's very strong buildings, so we can heat them.
Hmm?
We have a good ventilation system in that. So and in Germany in the pig stable, the fattening pig stables,
Yes.
we get pigs with 30 kilos, round about 60
Pounds.
pounds. That's a start for fattening pigs in the fattening stable in Germany.
Okay.
So that's a little bit different to the US. That's from wean to finish. And so that comes from the sow farm to the fattening stables.
No, that makes sense. I have some friends here in the U.S. who do the younger pigs, but they have some that they send off to other farms to be matured out, right? So in some U.S. farms, you go all the way from baby pigs being born on the farm to what you're selling for the market. And for some, they're only focused on what's going to the market. It makes sense to me too. When you look inside the barn, what does the building look like inside?
Inside, that's we have the floor is with concrete. With under the pigs there the manure, so that's we call it Spalten. It must be columns. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the manure can go downstairs. So then we have a feeding system.
Okay.
We feed winter wheat, winter barley, soya meal,
Right.
minerals, and a little bit corn. So that's a feed mixture. We do them with our own mining and mixing group. So and then there is a feeder for straw. That's for the animal welfare. So the pigs can use straw for eating, for playing a little bit with that. That's in the last years it becomes more and more interesting to get a little bit money for animal welfare.
Right. So what I just want to make sure people understand. So part of what you were saying is there kind of a slat system that lets the manure kind of come away from the pigs and goes underneath. And then now in animal welfare, you have straw that you provide them for bedding or for eating or for whatever it is pigs want to do with it. Just throwing it on each other. Who knows? But that is an extra kind of welfare thing. It lets pigs be pigs. Is what you're saying.
That's extra that we get them more space for the summer. That's a cooling system in the stable.
Okay.
Then the straw, and then a little bit wood and some other placings.
Yeah.
So if you do all that, you get €5.20 per pig.
Oh, okay. So it's like
welfare.
a premium for animal welfare.
Yeah.
Additional things that you're doing. Very cool. For somebody who's not been on a pig farm, I can remember the first time I went, I braced myself for what I expected was going to be big smells. Right? Like, I mean, the stereotype, you've always heard about these smells. And I found that the barns really didn't have as strong a smell as I expected. I mean, there's obviously some manure smell. It's not like it smells like Lysol or something really clean. But I was surprised by the lack of smell. I assume it's the same with you guys?
Yeah, it's in the stable, you can smell a little bit pig, but not so much. So that for someone who comes from a city, don't know pig stables, will go in and says, okay, I smell it, but it's not so terrible that you won't go out. So that is why we have the good ventilation systems. So if the pigs have good air, fresh air,
they're healthier.
That's animal welfare.
Yeah. It helps also produce healthier pork for the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
It's all the way good around. Another thing that I've learned about pigs is the sounds they make. So, you learn as a kid how to make all the sounds of different animals. My friend Chris started walking through her barns and the pigs were silent. And then when I started walking through, they were no longer silent. And she said it's because they weren't used to me, my smell, my sounds, whatever. Pigs are interested in what else is going on around them.
Yeah, pigs are very, very interesting. And if something there's what is new for them, they get, wow, what's that? Then woof, woof. So that's interesting. The first pig saw you or smells you and woo, and the rest of the pigs woo. So that's
It's
the
a
whole
chain
stable,
reaction.
the whole stable. Get off. That's very funny. The most time I make the office work and the work on the fields, and my father with my wife and one employee and my son goes to this table, and it's so interesting when my son talks because friends from school with him and shows him the pigs, and it's so interesting to see that. And when he talks about it, he's wow, he loves it. He loves it. He loves talk about pigs, and and it's so
I
interesting
love it.
when they go in and the pigs. And you say, okay, that's normal. That's you and you for them, and I'm the pig farmer. They know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of that, I think a lot of people haven't had a chance to go in a pig barn. And in the US, I know we have a lot of safety rules on who can go in, what you need to do before you can go in. Can you tell me some of those? Because you and I have been to barns together and had to do it, right?
Yeah, that's biosecurity. If you want to go in, you must be 24 hours pig free. So that's for normal people from the city, no problem. As a farmer, you can go from one stable to one stable. And if you want to go in, you change your clothes, you shower, then you get new clothes from the barn, and then you can go in the barn. So that's if you want to touch a pig, you have to shower.
Yeah.
Or you can have a look to the windows. So in Germany, all these tables have a lot of windows so that the sun come in, and so you can have a look there. But it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's for biosecurity. You must shower and changes your clothes so that you bring nothing to this table.
Yeah. I think the prominence of disease coming back and forth, you really want to protect your pigs.
Yeah.
If you're a pig farmer, you're trying to keep the whole herd healthy.
Yes.
And so you want to avoid exposing them to something novel or something unique. And so as a pig farmer, you wouldn't spend a day in your barns and then go to the farm next door and go in their barns on your skin.
That's the reason why
things.
we won't be the 24 hours without pigs. So that there's nothing in there, and you have to shower before you go in, so that it's the best for the pigs, and that's for me as a farmer. If the pigs ill, the veterinary must come, and it costs a lot of money, and it's not good for the pigs. So that's things I don't want. So it's easier to have a good biosecurity. That's with the new stables.
Yeah.
It's easy to make it. So that's all new, and it's can handle it very easy. So that's the normal thing. That's our employee goes in the morning in the stable, makes his 8 hours, and go home. So that's
Yep.
easy for him.
That's very cool. I think, the idea of having dedicated people to each barn and things of that nature really is helpful too, right? You don't want to be trading out which employees are where. And your pigs kind of get used to each other, used to all the people that are coming and going. And I think it gets kind of stressful for them, right? To have like a lot of new things going on, almost like it is for us as individuals. If you're always being exposed to new things, it's a little more stressful than if you kind of get some of your routine down.
It's not so stressful because that's not so many people in the stable, and there are no problems with biosecurity because there's a window
Yeah.
behind you and the pigs. So I think we need more farms about that to show so that everybody who's interesting can get an easy look into this table.
Yeah, I agree. I love it when farmers are able to figure out a way to either put cameras on their farm or be able to provide a showpiece area where, it may not give them the same as being a farmer for a day, but let them see what it's like. it certainly makes it easier for us to go, oh, that's where my food came from, and get a sense of
Yeah, yeah,
comfort.
like a webcam in this table,
Yeah.
so that you can have a look from the home, from the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, there's some great places that do that. And I know even like the Iowa State Fair has a camera where you can see all the animals at the Iowa State Fair the week of. And they can always tell you who's going to be having little baby piglets, or they try and make it so that there's an animal having a baby every day. So you can see how it works if you want to. Some people aren't really excited about seeing that, but others really love it. So.
Yeah, but the problem with the webcam, we must explain a lot of things. So that we must explain why a pig does it this way. Because of the heating, the cooling system for a pig, it's different
Yeah.
to a human. So we must explain, and we can explain that people are near or next to the stables, next to the farm,
Yeah,
but we cannot explain it with a webcam.
exactly. No, I understand. It's why the cameras are not,
Not perfect.
kind of unmanned and things like that, because there's so much to learn. But I think we're seeing here in the US a lot more virtual farm tours where people will have a camera on their farm for a period of time and take people around. And we talked to Farmer Tom in the UK about doing every other week on Farmer Time. So there's a lot of other options of how people can see farms. But you're right, webcam per se is more useful for the farmer themselves to kind of keep track of safety and things like that for the animals. I know a lot of times farmers in the US at least will use them to notice, okay, wait a minute, that cow's going into labor early or something, and be able to help them if it's a cow that hasn't previously had calves. It's a process that, you might want to be able to help with if needed. They just like to at least watch to make sure the cow is going to be okay and that the calf will be delivered safely. Same thing, I think, for pigs. One of the things I noticed when I was on a pig farm the first time, I had so many questions. I mean, gosh, God love them. But the baby pigs, it's like you're putting them under heat lamps and trying to keep them warm and things like that. But I understand pigs, they use mud when they're outdoors to cool down. Is that right?
Yeah. But
They don't. They
it's too
don't. They
hot.
don't deal with
Yeah,
heat.
when it's too hot, they use mud and so on. One time we see when it's too hot, and the next is it against the sun and against insects,
Okay.
mosquitoes and so on.
Yeah.
And in the stable, they are not too warm, they are not too much sun, and there are no mosquitoes. So they don't need the mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason why normally pigs in the stable are very clean
Very clean.
when you see pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did I miss asking you any questions that you think I should share information about pork or pigs? He gave me a great face where he didn't seem to know something right offhand. I'm sorry they won't see the video, Marcus.
For us as a farmer, it's so much things. It's totally normal, and we think, no, that's not interesting. Everybody knows that, and it's so interesting when the kids come from school and talk about the teachers or the other kids talk about farming and what they know about farming, and that's sometimes, wow, oh no, that told you the teacher? Yes, the teacher told that, and I told them, okay, you are wrong. So that's so interesting. My oldest boy talks to his teacher, okay, no, that's not wheat, that's barley. And the teacher, no, that's wheat. No. I thought, no, that's barley, because you can see it's round. So he explains them why that is barley. And at the evening, the teacher calls me and okay, Have your son told you something? Yes. He had told me. Okay. Tomorrow I will explain them it's to the other children that your son is right and I'm wrong. I don't know that that's barley and that is wheat. So it's, for us and for our kids, it's totally normal. And it's the same with the pigs. Normal pig from breeding to the born in 115 days, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So that's for us, it's normal. For our children, that's normal. And they talk in the school in half a year, 9 months. So that's nobody knows.
Yeah.
Normal things, what for us farmers is normal. So it's very difficult to say, okay, that I must talk to someone. I don't know what now see about farming.
Yeah. No, I understand. It's hard to know what questions people have until they ask them. I kind of assume some of the questions I've had or the things I've had since I wasn't from a pig background. I kind of assume maybe other people might have similar questions. So it's easy for me to ask some of the questions, not having lived it as long as you guys. I don't have as much expertise built up, or I can still remember learning them as an adult.
Yeah.
Right? It was amazing to me. I think part of the real question I have is, it's easy to be provided some information about something you know nothing about. So for a lot of people, they don't know anything about pig farming. So if they get some information about it, how do they know who to trust, right? So part of what you're trying to do is make sure they can also hear from farmers directly. And so I know you're on Twitter. Are you on Instagram?
A little bit.
Can't remember.
It's not my platform. I love Twitter.
Yeah.
I love Twitter, and Twitter it's for me. That's was my start in social media, and yeah, it's for me. It's the best platform.
Yeah. So the great thing is now anybody who listens to this episode and thinks to themselves, well, I wonder this about pigs, or I wonder this about pork, they can now come to Marcus directly. I'll put his handle in the show notes. You, of course, know that right now. What do you go by on Twitter?
At Bauerholti.
BAUERHOLTI. Bauerholti.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. All right, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us. This is our second season, and in this season, we are only talking to people outside the U.S. for a bit. So we're doing things really differently than before. A lot of the foods are things that we've either enjoyed on our travels, or so many things are very similar to the U.S. I know you've been to the U.S. and seen farms here. A lot of American farmers also come over to places like Germany to learn. You guys also have some really good agricultural companies that are there. So always having some back and forth. I really appreciate your coming, and hopefully you're going to enjoy listening to this later. We'll get your photographs and maybe even one of your videos. We'll put it in the show notes so people can get a little look at your farm.
Yeah,
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so cool in your podcast. It's so
As you can tell, I can visit with Marcus a good bit of the day. Appreciate his coming on the podcast and sharing his thoughts about German agriculture, about pig and pork. I really, really want one of those great big pork knuckle things that I got when I was in Dusseldorf now all of a sudden. As always, you can find us on any of the social media. Just pick your fave and look for us there. It's Grounded by the Farm, and groundedbythefarm.com is our website. We'll put some photos, some video in the show notes. And until our next episode in a couple of weeks, we'll see you then.